Well, for one little girl in Cleveland this week, that moment came in the form of a surprise birthday call from none other than Shedeur Sanders. And just like that, the Cleveland quarterback who's been caught in a storm of controversy, biased commentary, and organizational chaos reminded everyone exactly who he is. Let's paint the scene. A young fan, massive Browns follower, obsessed with Shedeur, posters on the wall, custom jersey, the whole deal, is celebrating her birthday. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Family throws a little party. Cake, balloons, football-shaped plates. It's wholesome. It's sweet. She's beaming. And then, ring ring, her mom puts her on FaceTime with him. Shedeur, freaking. Sanders. And he's not rushing the call. He's not doing the bare minimum. He's present. He tells her happy birthday. He asks about school. He jokes about cake flavors. He tells her to stay confident and to never let anyone tell her she can't be great. The girl starts crying. Her mom starts crying. And now you're crying, whether you admit it or not. And in that moment, Shedeur did something not even the most vicious hot take or twisted sports narrative can undo. He made it about someone else. He stepped outside the noise, the pressure, the criticism, and gave a young fan pure joy. No cameras, no PR team, just vibes. And let's be real, that alone would have been enough to win the day. But this is Cleveland. This is the NFL. And peace is never allowed to exist for more than, 5 minutes? Because while Shedeur is out here making birthdays magical, the other drama was unfolding on local radio like a sports talk soap opera. Enter Tony Rizzo versus Tony Grossi. And yes, this was the verbal cage match Browns fans didn't know they needed, but couldn't stop replaying once it dropped. Grossi, longtime Cleveland sports analyst, known for his, let's say, vintage takes, decides to take aim at Shedeur again. Says he's all flash, not enough substance. Accuses the Browns of coddling him. Hints that his performance is good, but not leadership material. Starts throwing around words like privilege and media darling. You could practically hear the eye rolls echo across Northeast Ohio. But then Rizzo snaps. Live. On air. No warning. No prep. He goes off. Are you watching the same games as the rest of us, Tony? He says, voice rising, irritation spilling over. He's defending Shedeur like a man who's had enough. Enough with the nitpicking. Enough with the bias. Enough with watching a kid who's done nothing but perform under pressure get dragged for things that have nothing to do with football. He's not perfect, Rizzo says, but you know what he is? Poised, smart, resilient, and every single one of his teammates knows he's got IT. He calls out the double standards, the subtle digs, the way young black quarterbacks have to be flawless and humble and grateful, while others get to fail upward in peace. You're not analyzing, Rizzo tells Grossi. You're protecting a version of football that's over. And suddenly, this isn't just a disagreement. It's a full-blown media reckoning. You could feel it happening in real time. Social media lit up. Fans picked sides. Clip after clip went viral. Rizzo versus Grossi became the debate of the day. But here's the key. Rizzo didn't just win. He reframed the entire conversation. Because while Grossi was busy dissecting Shedeur's intangibles with coded language, Rizzo brought it back to reality, to results, to impact. He reminded everyone that Shedeur isn't just playing well. He's changing the culture. And when you combine that performance with his presence, the community calls, the leadership, the moments like the birthday surprise, you get something Cleveland hasn't seen in a long time. A player who's bigger than the game in all the right ways. Because this isn't just about football. It's about image, narrative, influence. It's about how an athlete uses their platform, how they show up when no one's asking them to. And Shedeur, he's showing up again and again. Let's be clear. He didn't have to make that call. Nobody told him to. It wasn't planned by Nike or the Browns or any content team. That moment, it was Shedeur being Shedeur, the kid raised by a man who preached confidence with character. It's exactly what Dion taught him. Don't just play the game. Elevate the people around you. And now, here's what's happening. The narrative is turning. For weeks, Shedeur was the center of the storm. He was the rookie being benched, the guy behind the guy, the quarterback not ready, the flashy name with the flashy chain and the flashy Instagram. Now, he's the leader. And it didn't happen with one viral throw or one miracle win. It happened when a 10-year-old girl picked up a birthday FaceTime, and the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns was on the other end, smiling, asking her about her favorite color. That's power. And that's what Rizzo was fighting for. Because sports aren't just numbers on a stat sheet. They're stories. They're symbols. They're people who carry the weight of generations, cities, and expectations on their shoulders. Shedeur is carrying that weight, and doing it with grace, poise, and maturity beyond his years. So while Tony Grossi may still be stuck in the era of quarterback archetypes, the rest of the league, they're starting to catch on. Scouts are watching. Players are watching. Media outlets are shifting their tone. Because this isn't just a fluke. It's who he is. And as the season goes on and the Browns keep building around him and the spotlight gets brighter and the stakes get higher, you better believe he'll still be the guy showing up for people. Not because it makes a good headline, but because it's what he does. It's who he's always been. So here's the moral of the story. You can try to question his stats. You can nitpick his background, his name, his marketing deals. You can try to bury him under biased commentary, outdated standards, and hot take culture. But when the camera is cut off and the noise fades away, Shedeur Sanders is still going to pick up the phone, still going to call that little girl, still going to check in with his teammates, still going to lead with heart. And in a league obsessed with numbers, narratives, and name recognition, that's what really sets him apart. So yeah, let the Grossis of the world talk. Meanwhile, Shedeur's out here changing the game. Let me know what you think. Was Rizzo right to go off? Is Shedeur finally turning the tide in Cleveland? And is this the start of a legacy that goes far beyond football? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more meltdown moments, redemption arcs, and quarterback chaos. Because Cleveland, you've got more than just a rising star now. You've got a leader. Cleveland hasn't seen this kind of energy in years. Not since Baker's first spark. Not since Josh Gordon was the league's best-kept secret. Not since LeBron was still calling the Q home. But this time, it feels different. Because this isn't a moment built on hype or hope or one-off miracles. This is being built brick by brick with purpose, and with a quarterback who doesn't just want to be great. He wants to mean something. Shedeur Sanders is redefining what it looks like to lead in Cleveland. And he's doing it while the city's media landscape struggles to catch up. Tony Grossi might be the loudest critic, but he's not alone. There's an entire generation of football guys who just don't get it, who still think leadership looks like yelling in the huddle and being the last one to leave the film room, like charisma is a red flag, and brand deals are distractions. But here's the twist. Shedeur is not playing despite his brand. He's winning because of it. Let's break that down. When he FaceTimes a young girl for her birthday, that's not optics. That's culture building. That's showing the city, especially its youth, that they have someone real to root for. Not a cardboard cutout with a press agent. Not a company man reading off a script. A real person. A guy who cares. A guy who remembers what it means to make someone feel like they matter. That's not distraction. That's investment. And let's not pretend for a second it's easy. Because here's what no one tells you about being a young, black, highly visible quarterback in the NFL. You don't get to mess up quietly. Every pick you throw gets slowed down and dissected frame by frame. Every comment you make becomes a think piece. Every Instagram post gets turned into a referendum on your priorities. And Shedeur, he hasn't just survived that microscope. He's flourished under it. That's pressure. That's poise. That's leadership. So when someone like Grossi shows up on a Monday morning and tries to spin Shedeur's success into favoritism, it's not just tired. It's insulting. Because what exactly has Shedeur been handed? Not the starting job. Not a tailor-made offense until recently. Not the benefit of the doubt. He's earned every snap through performance, through patience, through handling more scrutiny in 6 months than most players face in a decade. And when he finally started to get some recognition, the backlash was immediate. Too flashy. Too confident. Too connected to his dad. Let's talk about that for a second. Because you know that's part of the resistance. Deion Sanders raised his son to believe in himself, to speak clearly, to walk into rooms like he belonged, to know his value. And for some people in this league, that's terrifying because they still want athletes, especially black quarterbacks, to come in quiet, nod respectfully, wait their turn, and earn their personality one snap at a time. But Shedeur is not playing that game. He's rewriting it. And Rizzo's not just standing up for a quarterback. He's standing up for progress. He's saying the quiet part out loud. Shedeur Sanders represents the direction the league is heading, whether you're ready or not. And let's talk about what that future looks like. It looks like a quarterback who can drop a dime under pressure and drop a message in the community afterward. It looks like a player who can spin out of a sack and still spin gold out of conversation with a young fan. It looks like a franchise face who understands he's not just selling jerseys. He's building relationships on and off the field. And that future, it's already here. So now, the Browns have a decision to make. Not on who their quarterback is, because that part's settled, but on how they're going to support the kind of player they've never really had before. Because if they want Shedeur to thrive, they have to build for him, not just around him. That means giving him an OC who isn't afraid of modern concepts. That means treating his leadership style as an asset, not a liability. That means understanding that sometimes showing up to a birthday call means just as much as showing up in a red zone. Because for Cleveland, this isn't just about football anymore. It's about identity. The Browns have been stuck in this endless loop of searching for a savior, handing them the keys, and then yanking them back the second something goes wrong. But Shedeur, he's not asking for the keys. He already knows how to drive. And now, after the way he's handled the drama, the media noise, the subtle slights, and the surreal expectation game, there's no more excuses. If you can win the locker room, the community, and even turn portions of the media in your favor while still being treated like a rookie backup, you're not just a player. You're a pillar. So what comes next? The rest of the season. The spotlight. The tests. The critics waiting for a misstep. But Shedeur, he's already lived under brighter lights than this. He's already battled expectations heavier than what Cleveland can throw at him. And if this birthday call, this media dust-up, and the sheer gravity he's already pulling inside the building tell us anything, it's that Shedeur Sanders isn't just ready for the next chapter. He's writing it himself. So if you're still holding out, waiting for some rookie regression, for some overhyped flameout, keep waiting. Because Shedeur's just getting started. And as for Tony Grossi, he'll keep talking. But from now on, nobody's listening. Because Shedeur Sanders has a city behind him, a team in front of him, and nothing but green grass ahead. Cleveland, you finally got one. Don't screw it up. Shedeur Sanders didn't just show up. He arrived. And the best part? He didn't need a 5-touchdown performance or a last-second Hail Mary to do it. He did it by showing up for people. He did it by facing the media storms and saying nothing but facts while others spiraled into agendas. He did it by lifting up a little girl on her birthday with a simple phone call, and by doing what the so-called professionals in sports journalism wouldn't, acting like a leader. And if you're still not seeing how much that matters, if you're still thinking this is just some feel-good distraction from the real football story, you're missing the point, because this is the story. This is how franchises turn the corner. This is how reputations are built. This is how trust is earned, not just from your teammates, but from the city. Cleveland isn't easy. It's gritty. It's skeptical. It's been burned so many times that hope feels like a scam and hype feels like bait. You can't win this fan base over with promises. You win them over with consistency, character, and heart. And right now, Shedeur is 3 for 3. So yeah, when Tony Grossi and others try to undermine that, when they throw around veiled criticisms wrapped in concern or old-school standards, they're not just questioning a player. They're questioning the city's ability to recognize greatness when it's finally right in front of them. But the fans, they're not falling for it. They saw the birthday call. They saw Rizzo stand up on live radio and call out the tired playbook of downplaying talent that doesn't fit the mold. They see how Shedeur carries himself, not just when the camera's rolling, but when no one's supposed to be watching. And most importantly, they've seen what happens every time Shedeur gets a chance to touch the field. Production, poise, progress. So if the critics are still looking for something to complain about, they're going to have to work a lot harder, because excuses, that he's not ready, the he's just a name takes, they're dying in real time. And honestly, it's about time. Because we've all seen what happens when you waste talent in this league. When you overthink it. When you wait too long, try to mold a future into some familiar shape, instead of letting it grow into something new. The NFL is filled with cautionary tales. Quarterbacks with fire in their chest and a franchise on their back, who never got the full support they needed because someone in the front office or the media couldn't see past the surface. But Shedeur, he's not waiting for permission. He's taking the moment and making it his. And now there's no turning back. Because the moment he made that phone call, the moment Rizzo went to war for him, the moment the fan base rallied in the comments, the threads, the forums, the Browns didn't just get a quarterback. They got a movement. And that's dangerous for everyone who underestimated him. So what's next? Well, if history tells us anything, the backlash won't stop completely. There will always be another critic, another lazy take, another attempt to poke holes in his image. But now he has momentum. Now he has allies. Now he has a team that finally knows who its leader is. And from here on out, everything changes. Offensive coordinators build around him. Marketing leans in. The locker room closes ranks. The city feels it. You can't fake that kind of energy. You can't coach it. You can't scheme it. And you sure as hell can't write it into a playbook. It's earned. And Shedeur Sanders is earning it every single day. From the field to the FaceTime. From the huddle to the headlines. From the people who matter. The teammates, the kids, the fans. To the ones who think they matter but are starting to realize they've already been left behind. So, yeah, let Tony Grossi and the rest of the football traditionalists keep looking for cracks. Keep nitpicking. Keep doubting. Because while they're busy measuring the height of the pedestal, Shedeur's out here building a foundation. One play, one call, one real moment at a time. And if you're still wondering if that's enough to change the story in Cleveland, ask the little girl who picked up that phone. Ask the teammates showing up early just to run routes with him. Ask the community centers, suddenly buzzing with energy when he walks in the door. Ask the fans whose jerseys finally mean something again. And while you're at it, ask yourself, when was the last time Cleveland football felt like this? The answer is probably never. Because this isn't the second coming of some past glory. This is something brand new. It's Shedeur Sanders. It's now. And Cleveland, it's your move. If you thought Shedeur Sanders surprising a little girl on her birthday and getting dragged by a crusty sports radio host was the peak of this drama, think again. This is bigger than a feel-good moment and way more powerful than a segment on morning talk radio. This is a kind of narrative pivot that redefines what a franchise stands for. Because here's the secret nobody wants to admit, especially not the old guard stuck clinging to outdated playbooks and 1990s quarterback archetypes. Culture moves faster than strategy. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is culture. The league just hasn't fully realized it yet. Oh, but Cleveland? Cleveland's starting to get the memo. Because this isn't just some quarterback hype cycle. This isn't your typical promising young star might blossom in a few years storyline. This is instant impact, multidimensional media savvy, community-rooted, generational energy. And here's the twist. It's not even about football anymore. It starts with football, sure, with throws on the money pocket presence, that surgical calm in chaos that makes you double-take and ask, wait, he's a rookie? But what Shedeur is doing goes beyond the field. He's shaping perception. He's shifting power. He's reminding everyone, from fans to front offices, that authenticity matters just as much as accuracy. And that's why the birthday call hit so hard. Because, yeah, it was cute, emotional, share-worthy. But what it really was, proof. Proof that the face of your franchise doesn't need to be a politician in pads. He doesn't need to be manufactured or muted. He just needs to be real. Real to the fans. Real to his teammates. Real to the city. And in a league where half the QBs sound like media-trained robots in post-game interviews, Shedeur sounds like your friend. He sounds like someone who knows what you're going through. And somehow, he's going through it too. That's connection. That's influence. That's how legends get built. So while people like Grossi are panicking over tone and brand and whatever ancient definition of quarterback decorum, he pulled out a leather binder from 1987. Shedeur is doing what the greats do, controlling the room, without even trying. Let's talk about what that means for Cleveland moving forward. Because the truth is, this franchise has been allergic to this kind of identity for decades. Every time a player tried to be bigger than the box they were put in, the system either ate them alive or shipped them out. Shedeur's not going anywhere, and that changes everything. For starters, it forces the coaching staff to evolve. There's no more "he's not ready" talk, no more slow develop plan, no more veteran stopgaps. It's Shedeur's team now, and if you're calling plays that don't fit him, you're the one who's not ready. It also flips the locker room dynamics. When a young quarterback earns the respect of the vets, not just with performance, but with presence, it settles the entire building. Guys buy in, not just because of talent, but because they feel seen. That kind of leadership is rare, especially from a rookie. And here's the real kicker. It forces the media to evolve. Because now, the local press can't just lazily recycle the same tired takes about rookie inconsistency and off-the-field distractions. They can't gaslight the fan base into thinking charisma is a flaw or that community engagement is somehow a distraction from playbook memorization. Not when the fan base is this locked in. Not when the locker room is echoing what fans are already saying. He's got it. Let him lead. And now, even the national media is starting to wake up. You're seeing more segments, more clips, more breakdowns. Analysts who were side-eyeing his tape in August are suddenly using phrases like natural leader and emerging star. It's funny how quick the narrative flips when the performance backs up the personality. But let's pause and appreciate how rare this moment is. Because in most cities, quarterbacks come and go like seasons. One bad game, and they're labeled. One off-field story, and they're replaced. Most franchises don't have a stomach to build around a quarterback unless he's 6 feet 5 inches, bland, and overly apologetic in post-game interviews. Cleveland, you finally got something different. You got a quarterback with a soul, one who wins games and wins hearts. One who can drop a 30-yard dime in the fourth quarter and then drop everything to call a young fan and make her feel like the most important person in the world. That's the kind of quarterback you build statues for before they retire. So the question now is, will Cleveland let this moment grow? Will they give Shedeur everything he needs? Not just a solid O-line and a dynamic receiver core, but a franchise that believes in him the way he already believes in himself? Or will they do what so many teams have done before, get scared of their own future, and try to scale it down to something safer? Because here's the thing. You don't manage stars like Shedeur Sanders. You support them. You don't mold them into your system. You rebuild the system around them. You don't try to dim the light. You make sure the whole stadium reflects it. Because when the world finally stops doubting, when even the Grossis of the world have no choice but to admit what's been in front of them this whole time, Cleveland's going to look back and realize this wasn't the year Shedeur arrived. This was the year everything changed. And you were here for it. So, yeah, maybe it all started with FaceTime. Maybe it all came to a boil with a rant on live radio. Maybe this week was about more than just football, but it always is with Shedeur, isn't it? He's not just a quarterback. He's a spark. He's the moment the franchise stops looking back and finally starts building forward. And when the history books talk about the turnaround, the culture shift, the moment Cleveland football went from curse to cool, they won't talk about Tony Grossi. They'll talk about the quarterback who called a little girl on her birthday and never looked back. Now it's your turn. Do you believe this is the start of something special in Cleveland? Is Shedeur the real deal, or is the media just finally catching up? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're as locked in as we are, hit that subscribe button for more quarterback chaos, media showdowns, and wholesome moments that actually matter. Because this is more than just a headline. This is Shedeur Sanders, and he's just getting started.